Okay, so I'd like to give my highly esteemed, very, very important, and extremely profound opinion. And you guys know what I think about opinions. They're like assholes. Everybody got one. So I'd like to give you a piece of my asshole in this video in regards to The Game Changers, the documentary The Game Changers. You probably heard of it. It's, it's all the rage now in the nutrition community, right? Joe Rogan even got the one of the producers, the UFC guy, the UFC fighter, James Wilkes, very cool dude, and the other guy, Chris Kresser, which is I believe a paleo guy. So he got him on the podcast. I didn't watch the podcast, but I watched the Game Changers, the documentary yesterday, and yeah, I'd like to give you a piece of my asshole in this video. So first of all, well, okay, two things. The whole time I was watching the documentary, I was amused, laughing, amused, and the other one was admiration. Admiration for the producers, admiration for James Wilkes, who seems like a very, very like positively oriented guy for sure. Like, just look at him and the way he talks, and you see how much he cares for his dad who's got cancer, and just like, you know, he's a very benevolent guy, and I was like full of admiration the whole time I was watching the documentary. That's the one part of me. The other part was just laughing because it's all bullshit. Like, everything's bullshit. It's like this. Look, it's like this. It's like two people arguing. One person's arguing that coffee is less harmful than Adderall, or it's better than Adderall, let's say. It's like that. It's like two people who are addicted to their drug arguing if my drug is less addictive than yours. My drug is better than yours. My drug is better than yours. My drug is better than yours. Damn right, it's better than yours. That was like it, basically, because it was like all this science tells us this, science tells us that, all this like world of nutrition and ideologies and belief systems, so of course, the thing is, this is all between us, okay? Like, we can't speak about this to, rule number one about this community: you do not tell anyone about this community, okay? Like, we discuss breatharianism here in India, the state of non-eating and being fulfilled off the prana, and humans don't really need food. We just know this. We've gone through this. I even have a playlist called Breatharianism, okay? Just go through the videos before you even say anything, right? Humans do not need food, period. But that's between us, okay? That's just between us. You wouldn't really be watching this video more than likely unless you already know about this. You know about prana. You know about the force, okay? So, that part of me was like, yeah, well, of course, this is all bullshit, this is all, it's just because science, we think science figured it all out, oh, you need vitamin this, you need vitamin that. Like, nobody's ever shaken hands with a vitamin, first of all. Nobody ever, you ever gave a hug to vitamin C or something? I mean, vitamin C seems like a groovy vitamin, right? Doesn't it? It's like in all fruits and stuff. I mean, I'd like to give a hug to vitamin C for once. Nobody's ever met these things. Somebody wrote it down. We need this. Oh, we don't need that. And the conflicting evidence and studies and everything to do with nutrition should tell you that it's all in the world of relativity. There is no truth to it, really. There is no base to it. It's just dissecting reality. It's classical Western rational mind separation consciousness. That's what it is. Let's separate reality. Let me tell you something about this apple. This apple has fiber, and it has vitamin C, and it has 8% iron and 7% let me just, all right, vitamin asshole. All right, there's also vitamin asshole. Just take my word for it. Vitamin asshole. And watching one of my videos gives you 11% vitamin asshole. So to meet your daily vitamin asshole needs, you need to watch 10 of my videos a day. Depends. If it's a long video, then it gives you 22%. So let's say 10 minutes of watching this asshole gives you about 11% of your daily vitamin asshole needs. So then you have to watch, you do the math, right? 11%, so 10 minutes. I'm no good at math here, but 90 minutes or so, roughly? 90 minutes, right? You could take your calculator and do the math and do the calculations and start to follow these guidelines, okay? So roughly 90 minutes of watching my videos will meet your daily needs for vitamin asshole. There, I just wrote it. Now it became a guideline. That's the story of modern nutrition in a nutshell. So it was all a bunch of people arguing about something that some assholes who were either drunk or deluded or whatever, they had a bad meal and they saw it in a dream, they wrote it, this is our guidelines. But they're constantly changing because they're all illusions anyway. There's no truth, no basis to them. Because the truth, if you want to know it, is that human beings are divine beings that are power. Everybody's a breatharian. Everybody's living off prana. It's just the prana is so blocked and the consciousness is so low that it's incomprehensible. This is why this is between us. So that's the amused part of me. But then there's the admiring part of me. Let's not forget about the compassionate part. Okay, the more realistic part, the one that sees what is actually needed the most in the planet here. And I was like, man, this guy is super cool. James Wilkes, mad respects. He's really cool. He's really, I could see the benevolence in him. I could see the love in him. I could see the sincerity, that's the word. I can see this. He's a very sincere soul. And he really wants to help his dad because he's got cancer. He wants to help the humanity. He really cares for the animals. Right? I could see it in him. And I was admiring and I was like, this is a great documentary and this is cool. And it's going to get a lot of people for the animals, for the poor animals. From my perspective, it's for the poor animals. This is a great step if more and more people, and it definitely caused a lot of reactions. A lot of people wrote, I'm going to give the vegan diet a shot. I'm going to do vegan for a week. The game changers changed my mind. So this is great. It's fantastic. That's the part of me that was admiring the whole thing. As much as it was an amusement of the whole thing, it was also an admiration of the whole thing. Because I understand this whole breatharian thing and living off prana, that's for very specific folks, okay? It's the narrow path, on a very specific mission. It isn't for 95% humanity. It may be for 3% right now, but not more. Okay, perhaps in 100 years, maybe 10% of the humanity will be breatharian. But for now, if even 1% can be breatharian in the next 20 years, that'll be amazing. That's not for humanity, and you're not gonna go to somebody who works in a bar and tell him, hey, dude, there's this thing called breatharianism. You won't need to eat, you won't need to drink, you'll feel amazing, you'll feel high. You'll feel joy like you've never felt before. You should become a breatharian. Yeah, right. He's gonna get a whiskey and just chug it in your face, rightfully and justifiably so. What are you doing, bro, preaching that message to somebody, somewhere in the Midwest who drinks beers every day and works in a bar? And, probably a cool dude, but, not ready to hear that you don't actually need any of this stuff. So I understand that the next logical step in the evolution of the planet, the evolution of consciousness, the evolution of the humanity on this planet is, first of all, for them to stop killing one another in all forms. Killing the animals, killing anything that moves. Anything with legs, anything that moves. To stop killing the animals. To stop the raping of the earth. Because it's a crazy statistic, but I can't remember. It's in the documentary. There's a crazy statistics about how much of the land, the land used to farm is actually just for livestock. Crazy. Most of the farming that goes on isn't for planting fruit trees or anything. It's actually for livestock, for the dairy, egg, and meat industry. It's crazy. It's ridiculous. So clearly, then the next realistic and logical step to take this poor planet that's been suffering from the 3rd density to the 4th density would be for more humans to turn vegan, for less violence to happen on the planet, less farmlands used for livestock, which gives the planet some time to heal. So that's the part of me that's admiring the whole thing, that's saluting the whole thing, that's clapping his hands for the whole thing, that's understanding of the whole thing. That this is great. I'm looking at it, I'm observing it. This is great. The name of the documentary is fantastic. It is changing people's minds. More people seem to are trying to go vegan, to eat less meat or no meat at all. Yeah, that'll really take some stress off the planet. It really will take some stress off of Gaia so she can heal herself, which she damn well knows how to do. So, from that perspective, great documentary. Fantastic documentary. Wonderful. Now, right. So, like, what about the foods? Because, the whole documentary is showing that you still need protein, that first of all, a lot of the foods that are promoted in this documentary, they have, detrimental foods in the sense that they contain anti-nutrients like beans and nuts and seeds and all that stuff. All these foods that are heavy in protein and also heavy in anti-nutrients, which don't sit well with the human digestive tract, they're promoted in the documentary. So from the perspective of optimal nutrition, obviously this is not optimal nutrition. Okay, obviously. Optimal nutrition, as we know, is Inidia, is pranic living. Next would be liquids. Next would be fruits. Next would be raw. Next would be veganism. And then next would be omnivore. Next would be carnivore. That's from least to most optimal. But again, we're not at the level yet for people to understand that fruits are the most optimal foods and that actually there is another level, which is pranic living. We're not at that level. As far as the humanity goes, what we need to tell the mainstream is, folks, look, you don't really need to eat meat, and you could still fulfill your taste buds with all these delicious vegan treats and stuff like that. Like in the documentary, they show you like this one football team. Almost everybody in the football team now is eating vegan. These big, giant guys with big muscles and manly men, right? And they're all getting around the dinner table and they're eating this lovely lady. She's the wife of one of the football players, and she seems like just a sweetheart. And she makes the whole team food, and she actually made a business out of it now. And they're all eating vegan, and they all want to taste good foods. They're not all about optimal nutrition or anything like that. They just want to taste good foods. So, it's good. Good message. Hey, instead of eating a piece of meat, eat this vegan burger that tastes just as good, if not better. And you could make almost anything that's meat and animal based now. You could make it using plant products. What was it I tried the other day? Instead of cheese, I tried this. It was delicious. Instead of cheese, you can use cashews, which they're just so goddamn good on their own to begin with. You can use cashews to make cheese. I tried it the other day. It's fantastic. So for folks who are not yet ready to hear that, hey, you go Fruitarian and then you go Breatharian, no, come on. The mainstream is not ready to hear that. Simple as that. They still want to satisfy their taste buds. They still want to go on having normal lives with their families, getting around dinner table, making all these delicious meals, and of course having to deal with all the side effects that happen after and all the farting and burping. But let's not talk about that here right now. Talk about it in another video. Okay. So they still want to do all this fun human stuff, right? So all power to them. Why if we can get them to do it in a way that is more sustainable for the environment, that harms less animals? Sure, man, why not? That's a positive step forward. And so from that perspective, I have nothing but positive things to say about this documentary. And I think it's a major step forward. There was the few documentaries before, Cowspiracy and all the one, What the Health or something. And they pushed a lot of people to turn vegan and be more compassionate towards the animals. That's the most important thing. They pushed a lot of people that direction. And the nice thing about the Game Changers, it's pushing some athletes, because it's showing you this big guy. His name is Patrick Boyeman or something. This strong man, fucking powerful guy, and he eats vegan. Powerful guy. So it's now what the Game Changers is doing now. It's getting more to the athletes now, getting more to the because you see a lot of big guys with big muscles and strong people in the documentary, and they're eating vegan and they're getting by just fine. So now it's breaking some of these taboos that, hey, What if I turn into a skinny, wimpy little bitch? If I turn vegan? Now this is, this documentary is changing that perception because it's showing you. James Wilkes himself is a scary dude. He trains with armies and stuff. He's a martial artist, he trains with army. He's a scary dude, and he's vegan. So now it's changing this perception of man. You got to even Arnold now is like preaching veganism. He's one of the producers. So the nice thing about this documentary, it's now getting the meatheads, some of the meatheads, and some of the gym bros, and the people that are too scared because they've been taught that if you don't eat meat, you're gonna lose your muscles. You're gonna be as a malnourished, skinny, wimpy little bitch. It's getting to change that because there's a lot of scary dudes in that documentary. Scary dudes that are vegan. So it's good. Maybe 50 years from now, a similar documentary, maybe sooner, maybe 50 years from now, a similar documentary, but breatharians. You've got all these super cool, badass, ripped breatharians, good bodies, and they're running endlessly because they got all this energy and they're breaking all the world records, Maybe in 50, 100 years, we'll see a similar documentary to the Game Changers, but breatharians. But the world's not ready to hear that, folks, okay? The breatharian message is between us here. It's in this community, okay? Let's, rule number one about this community is you do not talk about this community. Rule number one about breatharianism is you do not talk about breatharianism unless you're in the club, okay? The world is not ready for it yet, okay? So as much as I was amused by the bullshit, the overall bullshit that I was witnessing, the bullshit that I was constantly hearing, at the same time, I was like, God bless you, James Wilkes. God bless this documentary. God bless. This is positive. This is great. I'm happy to see this. I'm happy to see that more people now are actually becoming vegan. I'm happy to see these taboos on, the association of being a manly man, a strong, athletic man, and eating meat. I'm glad to see it being broken. I'm glad to see all these badass people in this channel, in this documentary. All these strong people, all these athletes, and they're all vegan, so they're gonna get to break some of these taboos. So at the same time, yes, that's both. So overall, God bless. This is great. This is fantastic. Another step forward in what has already changed. Like we said, this planet no longer supports third density vibration. It has already moved into fourth density. If there is a proof to it, something like the Game Changer should tell you. The planet already moved. It's about compassion now, oneness, non-violence, ahimsa, I think it's called, right? In Sanskrit, non-violence, non-harm, and respect to all living beings. And so, of course, next step would be plants. Why are we cutting these plants off the ground? That would be the next step, which will happen. That's, but again, one step at a time, folks, okay? God bless you guys, and if you'd like to support this community on Patreon, there's a link in the description. $2 a month. Come on, get your credit card. Stop being lazy here. Stop being lazy and start being a game changer, okay? So I want to thank all the existing Patreons. There's 29 of you at the time of making this video. That's a lot of people. Thank you, guys. I love you. And Saeed Mubayed at Instagram if you want to get in touch personally. And until next time, may the force be with you.